Alright, well, for all intents and purposes, here's my blowout setup. I'm probably going to take a couple extra pieces of swing pipe so I can remake my my little drops there, but I've got a Harbor Freight 1/2 inch by 100-foot hose. Corey said he can get most of his with about 50 feet on a hose reel. He bought a hose reel and he's using it on his. I always felt like I needed a 15-foot whip doing a lot of the stuff that we were doing before. Now, truth be told, I haven't done blowouts for a couple of years, but in years past we blew them out for about 10 years with a compressor just like like this, but a 30-gallon instead of a 20-gallon. I'm going to go ahead and blow out a fairly significantly good size residential system tomorrow. If I remember right, it's like 7 or 8 zones, 200 and something feet of pipe, 250, maybe 300 feet of pipe, main line. So pretty good size system for a residential. Normally I'm doing 5 zones a system, might have 120, 140 feet of main line in it, and it might have maybe a roll and a half of 1-inch poly, like 300 feet, 350 feet. Not tons, and then we'll have some swing pipe here or there or whatever. But this is my setup. It's bolted down to the skid. Now it's nice and sturdy. I kind of wish I would have put a cross member across it. I'm not even going to mess with it now. That should be plenty good. I was shaking that thing really hard. If it starts having a problem, I can weld a cross member. I'll pick it up and I'll just grind the paint down. I'd just rather not mess up the paint because it turned out pretty good. But I may have to put a cross member underneath it. But basically, this is what I use, and this is what we used. It's the exact same setup as what we did on Corey's. He had a 50-foot hose on a hose reel, and then what we do, normally our blowout ports is just a 1/2 inch. We put a bushing, a threaded 1-inch by 1/2 inch bushing, 1/2 inch MPT, and then we put a plug in it. So that's what the 1/2 inch swing pipe fitting's for. What we do is we just put regular funny pipe fittings on it, and then we adapt it to, I had to go from 1/2 inch MPT here to 3/8, and I used the large 3/8 industrial fittings. This fitting is actually almost the size of the inside of a 1/2 inch piece of airline. So a lot of people might say, oh, you got restrictions. This is the 3/4 industrial fitting. I've used them for years. My impacts have always worked better on them. Started that when I worked for a big industrial shop, a big diesel shop, and your tools live longer on it and everything, trust me. So I've got one setup for both. I've got 1/2 inch and 3/4. All of mine anymore are 1/2 inch, but I do have some old ones out there that were 3/4. I have, and actually I need to make that up. I've got bushings here. I need to put another nipple in there, but I've got bushings, so that's a 3/4 to 1/2, and here's a 1/2 to 3/8. So on the job site, I can screw this in. If we have outside, some of the old ones that I had nipples sticking up, and it's got a cap screwed on it instead of a plug. We went to a plug style to simplify things, but this will get over a 3/4. And then this is our 3/8 to 1/2. That'll get on the top of a 1/2 inch nipple instead of 3/4. I have another bushing. That is, I think it's 3/4 by 1/2. I don't know why I have that, but I do, just in case we need it, I guess. A spare 1/2 inch nipple. I know I don't have one on anything here, but that's just in case. Then I have an extra 3/4 swing pipe fitting, an extra 1/2 inch swing pipe fitting, 1/2 inch MPT, and then I've got some of these fittings. I saw them at Home Depot. They've got both on it, and they are supposed to be easier to screw on the swing pipe. And that's my little emergency setup, just in case I can't get it with my normal stuff. Now, the stuff tomorrow, we're only going to be using this pipe. Our theory is, we run about 70 to 100 pounds on the compressor. That way the compressor has a lot more time to keep up with everything that we're doing instead of running like, 110 or something to it. This is your fuse. This should blow apart long before anything in the system. Now, I know we have these same parts in the ground, but this being in free air with no resistance, with dirt holding it and stuff like that, our theory has always been this will blow apart before anything else. And if you're running 70 pounds on your compressor, most of our water pressure is anywhere from 60 to 85 or 100 psi. We tap at the main, or well, we tap at the meter. We come about 10 feet on our side of the meter, and we do a tap outside. We always do an outside tap. We don't do an inside tap. We don't want to share the water line. We don't want to share the house with it or anything like that. So we always run 1-inch class 200 PVC for main line. We always master valve it. So this should blow apart long before anything in the ground. At least that's our theory. We've never had a problem with it. We've done this for 15 years. It's very simple. You have scraps of swing pipe. The only thing you might have to buy is an air fitting and a reducer, that reducing bell. I'll also usually take one of these little, I think this is Harbor Freight or something. Oh no, it's a Crescent brand. I usually take one of these little 10-inch aluminums. I take those little guys, and I take a pair of crescent wrenches, or a little crescent wrench. But this is literally my blowout setup. I set my regulator up to where I can reach it from the side of the truck. I'll literally pick this up. This is backwards, or this is actually facing outside of the truck. Now this will have a battery box on it, and then I might put a small toolbox on it to put that and some tools in it, and I'll probably just leave the tools in it. And then there is going to be a hose reel right here. I just don't have the hose reel yet because I couldn't bring myself to spend $320 on a new one, and I'd kind of like to have just a manual roll up for 100 foot a half inch. That's all the hose I'd probably ever need for this. But they're $320, and I just missed one on Marketplace for $40. The guy gave it away. Anyways, it is what it is. I figured I'd wait for another one. I'm just going to take this and loop it around the motor or something and drive it around. I did put some D-rings on this on all four corners. So usually I drive flatbeds. We are going to have this in a service body truck here fairly quick. It'll just sit right in the back of a service body. So it'll have pretty tall sides on either side of it. And then I'll just strap it in and take off. I may end up just getting a 50-foot retractable, and then if I need something extra, maybe I can cut this Harbor Freight hose down and put some really nice connections on it and just use the hose for like a 30-foot whip, and then I'd have a 70-foot for something really long, but I could have a 30-foot whip inside the truck in the back cabinet if need be. So I may separate that 100-foot hose and just put a retractable on it. But this will be an electric start once we get the battery box on it. Waiting on Amazon to bring that tomorrow. But if you want to see this thing blowing out a decent-sized residential irrigation system, like I say, I know we've got, I did it early this spring, I know we've got 250, close to 300 feet of main line in it. A lot of main line. For us, it's like a big country yard. And then I think it's 7-8 zones or something like that. So all the naysayers that say you cannot do blowouts with this type of compressor, I guess watch for the next video. And watch. All right, here we are with my air compressor running. And this is a very big system. And as you can see, I just opened this zone. And my little 17 CFM compressor that makes, I don't know, 175 PSI, it'll blow a system out just fine. We're gonna let that one run just a little bit longer. We've got a little bit of stream coming out of there. I like getting all the heads to that. That one's a little behind. It's at the end of the line. All right, we'll switch. So here we are, we're gonna switch. And as you can tell, the compressor does just fine blowing it out. Zero problems. And at this point, you've already got a lot of your main line blown out. We've got, I don't know if you can see all the way down. Oh, it just went to steaming, is what I call it. Switch it. But I had a lot of people on Facebook tell me that you're crazy and you can't use one of those compressors to blow these systems out. Well, this is an 8-zone system. It's got 300 foot of pipe main line. It goes all the way around the house on this acreage, and we've already blown out. We're spitting a little bit down here. I want to see that last head because we're downhill. Nope, we're already good. Switch. You don't have to go up and run the valve on your compressor. You just need to leave the last, or you need to shut it off before you get to the last zone. So we've got heads over here on the side. That's probably where we're going right now. Maybe we're at the back. Oh no, we're at the side yard. The back side yard, I guess. See, it's blowing them out just fine. Look how far away from the truck we are. Zero problems running one of these compressors, guys. Do not fall into the deal to where you have to go get a big tow behind. We're, I don't know, 250 feet away from the truck right now. And look, we are blowing it out just fine. We're all the way around the house here. Look how many heads we're blowing out. Tell me you can't use that compressor. I bought that compressor for 600 bucks. I'm using half-inch line, half-inch air hose on it. I've got the regulator set, I don't know, 60, 70 pounds. And that thing does just fine. Look at this. And I mean, look how far we are from the truck. There's the truck, and the main line comes up here to the corner and goes all the way around here to this back corner. Even this far head over here, no problem. No problem at all. All right. And then this is probably this, oh no, this is the zone back here. Even further away, because we're going through zone line there. I don't know, maybe that already sprayed up there. It's blowing that out just fine. Just fine. Zero problems. And then we've got heads all the way out there. But see, those are about 350, maybe 400 feet from the truck, that last head. I'd say it's got zero problems. Zero problems at all. All right, I'm gonna let that run. I'm gonna go back up to the truck because I don't know if they got their drip zone plumbed up. If they never ran it, I'm not gonna blow it out. And if so, what I do is I turn the compressor off and I switch to it, and I let that I let the pressure in the compressor blow off on that. And it doesn't look like they never hooked up their drip, so we're not gonna run water through it. So there's about 300 foot of main line. I don't know how long that took. What's the camera say? 4.5 minutes is total time. And I did start 1 or 2 zones before we did anything, or I did do 1 zone. We were on the 2nd zone when we started. So we sprayed out 7 zones in about 5 minutes. With 300 feet of main line, I think is what we installed in here. So, and then I walk up, while that zone is open, I kill the compressor so we don't deadhead the pipe. And there we go. And then the homeowner's trained, he can do it next time, or he can call us. Either way. But that's just a 18 CFM. Like I said, we're running 60, 70 pounds on the regulator. 1/2-inch line. You don't need a towable. I've had guys multiple times tell me you need a towable, because like I showed you, we got 300 foot of main line in here and it's got zero problems. Been doing it for 20 years like that. All right, guys, see ya. All right, residential yard. My little compressor again is the AC220 GSM or GMS. All I did is hook to the irrigation system. I shut the backflow off. We use double checks in this neighborhood. I shut the double checks off and I go to our blowout port. I use my swing pipe buffer. But here we go. I fired the compressor up while I'm setting up. So it's warmed up, pressurized everything else. I've got number one, it's already turned on. So that way I could take the blowout port out and it wouldn't, you know, have a bunch of line pressure and stuff in it. Let's go open the valve. Spray zones. Corey actually said that he was worried that my little compressor couldn't do spray zones because they evacuate a lot more air. So we'll see. And I don't know if you guys are timing how long this is going to take, but water's there. We're pushing all of the main line out. We always wire up the valve furthest away from our tap. So now this will be the longest one blowing out. And then when we go to the next one, it'll take less time and less time. See, like right now, that's taking a lot of air because all these are almost out of water. I'm waiting for these to get a little more water out by the curb. But compressor's doing fine. It's even keeping all the heads all the way up. I'm waiting for that one out there by the curb, because it's like the end of the line. And that's probably good. See, we're blowing air. Compressor's doing fine. It's still spitting a little bit. I'm just waiting for this guy right here. He's probably good. All right, let's switch to 2. Oh, I didn't switch. I turned it to 2. Let's switch to 2, Jason. There we go. Got rotors in the back. See, this one's already got all the water out of it. We'll wait for those back ones, and the side one's probably down on that bottom side of the yard. Like I said, this thing does really good. If you want to make pretty good money, you could do these, and I bought that compressor for $600 and $95 to $125 a pop. Ain't bad for that type of investment if you've got a lot of them lined up. We're waiting on this one. All the rest of them are blowing air. That thing does totally fine. Even the back one in the corner is blowing air. This one's there. We're set to 3. Let's go to 3. Switch the valve. You definitely want to set everything up with some kind of, this is a Hunter Smart Port with for the remote. I've got a smart port that I put on it. Now see, since we laid this system out ourselves, we've already got all the air out of the system. Now all we're doing is blowing air out of the zone line, because the main line has got probably nothing but air in it. Waiting on this little guy here. It's the last one in the line. Those are all blowing air. Got no problem with pressure. If somebody says you can't do it with one of those, here it is. Just waiting on this guy. And see, we're blowing air, which is a hard thing to do. So that makes plenty of air pressure. He's blowing pretty good air. Go to 4. This one's only got 4 zones in it. And this is, yep, see, that's already got air blowing out of it. All we're doing is blowing the last 2 heads out, basically. because it's already pushed all that air out of the main line, and they're almost done. How long's the video so far? 5 minutes, and I kind of fumbled around with the remote, but 5 minutes, we're done. Now we can go shut the airline off. Actually, we're going to leave that running. I got one right down the street. We're done. And I just take the plug and I temp it on. Just barely screw it in. So if somebody tries to turn this on, it's going to spray or blow that off or something. So they know. That's it. Just blew out an irrigation system in 5 minutes. And I'm charging 95 bucks for these two, so I'll make what is that, $190 in the tune of about 10 minutes. And the compressor did just fine. See ya.